For this video, we're going to take the maps that we exported from Substance Painter and plug them into a PxrSurface inside of RenderMan 23. With our model here, our first step is to come over to the Pixar ball, right click, and add a PxrSurface. And let's go ahead and name this newspaper PxRS. All right, let's go ahead and fire up the Hypershade. With our Hypershade open, the first thing we want to do is navigate to our new material and go ahead and graph it. Now we just need a few texture nodes to pull in our maps. So here in the open space, we're going to tab and go ahead and type in PXRT and navigate to PXR texture. Now that we have this, let's go ahead and duplicate it a couple times. So just on the keyboard, let's say Command D, go ahead and duplicate it just a couple times so we have extra, so we don't need to tab them in every single time. Now with the PXR texture, let's go ahead and name this one Diffuse. All right. Now let's load in our map. So with it selected, come over to File Map. We're going to hit the Open File. Navigating to our images, we should see our newspaper diffuse map. So click it, and we're going to hit Open. Now, a caveat here. Remember when we were in Substance Painter, I talked about the export documents? We want to pay careful attention to which maps are coming in as RGB and which maps are coming in grayscale. The maps coming in as RGB have color information, and we're going to need to linearize that inside of RenderMan. All that means is with this selected, we want to come down to the linearize option and go ahead and check it off. From here, if we hit 3 on the keyboard, it'll open up some options, and we just drag our result RGB into diffuse color, and then we can hit 1 on the keyboard just to hide it. Let's go ahead and do the same for our spec map. So let's go ahead and name this spec. We're going to come into the file node, navigate to our specular map, hit open. And this time we're going to hit 3, and we're going to result RGB into specular face color and specular edge color. Even though this reads as a grayscale map in this particular example, remember if we come over to Substance Painter that our specular map is actually RGB. The reason for that is Substance Painter is taking the color information inside of our metalness. So in this case, if you had like brass, you would have that reflection color of brass and putting in our spec gloss so RenderMan knows what kind of metal it is, or at least what color it is. So keep in mind, because it's an RGB map, we need to linearize. And then we'll hit 1. Now here's where we're going to change things up. This map, we're going to put in our roughness. All right, with our roughness, we're going to slide over to roughness, open it up, and there is our roughness map. Now, key thing here, remember, coming back to Substance Painter, our roughness map is a grayscale map. We don't need to linearize. Because it is a grayscale map, our specular roughness is not looking for 3 different colors. It's actually only looking for 1. So in this case, we can just take result red, which is the result R, and put it into our specular roughness. And we'll go ahead and close that. All right. Before we get into our presence and our bonus action, let's go ahead and tab in a normal map. So in this case, we're going to type in PXRN and fire up a normal map. Our normal information we're going to get from here. So File, Normal Map, and let's go ahead and import it. Now, there is a caveat when it comes to the normal map. Depending on your settings inside of Substance Painter, you may need to invert this. And if you need to, taking a look at it and you say, hey, my bump's upside down, no big deal. We're just going to invert bump here. With it selected, again, 3 on the keyboard, take result in, and we're going to drop that into bump normal. Go ahead and hit 1. For our bonus, if you had an opacity map, we're going to go ahead and name this opacity. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and select it. Again, opacity, which is a black and white or grayscale image, so there's no need to linearize this one. With this selected, just like with the roughness, we're going to go to result R and slide that right into our presence. And that gives us a nice tapered fall off of the newspaper. All right, if everything's worked correctly, and I've got a dome light already in here, let's go ahead and hit R and see what happens. And now you can see all of the maps working together to produce a quality image inside of RenderMan 23. And you can see our opacity map is working, giving us a nice tapered effect.